Hi, let's take a look at part 3 of the Raid on Graymalkin crossover, issue 9 of X-Men. This is written by Jed MacKay and penciled by Federico Vicentini and Ryan Stegman, inked by Federico Vicentini and JP Myers, and colored by Marte Gracia Fer Sifuentes-Sujo. Full spoilers ahead, so you're forewarned. This one has some help from Simone on the writing front, sort of, as she's credited with a special thanks on the credits page. It is essentially two big fights, a physical one between the X-Men and the Trustees and Wolfpack Sentinels, and an ideological one between Cyclops and Rogue. Hi, Future Tyler here. Once again, I think the suspected last-minute changes had wreaked havoc with the continuity of this crossover, as evident in the start of this issue. Yep, Psylocke and Kurt were in the shot when the Trustees and Wolfpack Sentinels appear in part 2, but they were apparently not supposed to be there, as they had teleported elsewhere earlier in that same issue. This issue starts with Psylocke and Nightcrawler ending their fight with each other in the Morlock's tunnel beneath the Graymalkin prison, as previously seen in Sentinels issue 1. And kudos to Kurt for immediately recognizing that the whammy caused by scurvy had disappeared, though I would have thought a telepath like Psylocke might have recognized it first. In any case, they stop fighting, while the rest of the mutants launch into battles with the Trustees and the Wolfpack Sentinels. So it is confirmed that the Trustees are being mind-controlled by scurvy. It is not a difficult guess, actually, given what Psylocke said in part 1 and then repeated in part 2. And we initially thought one of the Trustees was Toad, but we were mistaken. He turns out to be Wild Child. Yeah, I like a couple of the snippets during this fight. The short back and forth between Jubilee and Temper is kind of on point if you buy Temper's anger towards Wolverine. And that moment between Temper and Ransom is setting something up. The sibling rivalry between Magic and Juggernaut is always fun, though I thought she was helping him against Blob, but is drawn as one of the Dog Sentinels, so I did notice that too, but by then I was like, whatever. All these mistakes no longer, jumps out at me. That is where I am at with this messy crossover, and it is just between two titles. I can't wait to see how the next crossover X-Manhunt will be coordinated between 7 titles and an Omega issue. Should be easy, right? Anyway, the conversation between Cyclops and Rogue later confirmed that it was meant to be Blob. And also, I think it is just one line, but I know it is just one line, but given Kurt's role during Krakoa and how he fought to rehabilitate some evil mutants, I'm not sure if he would say what he said regarding freeing Omega Red. Agree. And then Professor X took over Psylocke, which you missed during the first read. While it is nice that Cyclops and Rogue realized that they should work together, it is kind of late, isn't it? That should have happened before all of this. And that led to the ideological fight between the two. The short version is, I agree with what Scott said about the dream and the freedom to pursue dreams of their own, but I also agree with Rogue regarding not leaving Charles, and for that matter, all the other kidnapped mutants here. Yep. While I agree with what Cyclops said, he is also wrong, because if he had already realized that Xavier is manipulating him, how would freeing Xavier equate to being back on the leash? I'm also puzzled with this whole Charles thing. He let himself be captured and rendered himself catatonic for restitution. He was going to pay for his crime. But one of the stupidest ex-recon, and we had a few of those over the years, made his restitution, moot. I know. I want to forget that BS. Anyway, Scurvy appears and sprouts some nonsense about Corina's dream and does this white light protocol thing that kind of did not stop Juggernaut from maybe freeing inmate X, but then Charles appeared, with Psylocke and Nightcrawler looking like they are being mind controlled. So now the question becomes, who is inmate X? Judging from the cover of next issue, it looks like we will be seeing a Nimrod Bastion Sinister mount, or perhaps a Nimrod Bastion Danger mount. We shall see. The art by Vicentini is decent. I like it mostly, and while his style is not quite the same as Stegman's, it is also not as jarring of a switch between the two artists. Without looking through again, I seem to remember a lot of close-ups in Vicentini's portion. On the reread, I actually think it is good and not just decent. Some of the art has a very early Bacalo feel to it. In fact, the double page splash, there is a I have to do a double take because Calico looks almost like Husk. In addition, his action scenes were dynamic looking and has a lot of movement in them. The one thing that I have to say though are the mistakes in the art. Jubilee should not be in her trench coat. She should be in red, which is what all the inmates were wearing. Calico is also in the wrong attire. And we had mentioned the Blob Sentinel Dog mistakes earlier, so I'm not sure if this is his fault. But I'm also not sure how it got to print unnoticed. The Stegman portion is as expected. A lot of background details, young looking characters, and some really good facial expressions and body language to sell the ideological fight between Cyclops and Rogue. We said before, if you enjoy his art previously, you will continue to do so. If not, nothing in this issue will change your mind. So, why do we think there were last minute changes to this crossover? There are two main reasons. One, the first three parts of these crossovers had multiple art teams per issue, and in some issues, like this one, even multiple color artists. Two, I'm giving MacKay and Simone the benefit of doubt here. These are two really good writers and had shown in the past that they could handle crossovers without issues. So it really makes me scratch my head as to how they could not coordinate a 4-issue crossover. Agree. And the mistakes in continuity are really obvious mistakes. They did not just occur once. It happens in all three parts of this crossover thus far. Including part 1 in retrospect. That is why we kept saying that there appears to be last minute changes. And in addition to that, we know that good coordination is possible. Just look at Sentinels issue 3 and Mystic issue 3. So this is a little tough to rate. On one hand, I like some of the character voices and the art. On the other hand, there were a lot of continuity errors in both the story and the art. It is a 3 out of 5 for me. I agree. Even without the continuity errors, there were bits of this that does not sit very well with me. So if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe if you have not already done so. Please share this with your friends and leave a comment below. Thanks, and Tyler out.